Hi everybody, we are continuing with our book Message from a Teen in the Spirit World by the Spirit Neio. Just a summary of last week's chapter so we can just remind ourselves where we closed off. Carlos woke up in the spirit world and in a room that was unfamiliar to him. So his observation about the room was it was comfortable and made for rest. So his observation about his body was that he was actually looking the same and he didn't feel any illness and everything has disappeared. Which upon he called for his mother. And in that instant, as soon as he called for her, he could hear her. And his observation about that is that he didn't hear her with his ears, but with his mind. And that is when a few of his symptoms of his illness, which he died of, returned to him. So then Aunt Eunice automatically came and she told him that he still has a bond with his mother that is not very healthy. It is a loving bond, but an unhealthy bond. And so he couldn't control his thoughts and his mind, so she called someone to help him. Today we are continuing with more family. Hi, Saul. Thank you for being here. Okay, more family. While I was waiting for the doctor, Aunt Eunice at one point told me that she was going to fetch other family members. She left, leaving me to the new thoughts that were spinning around in my mind. After a few minutes, the door opened and our aunt came in, accompanied by other individuals. At first, I thought there were a lot of them, but it turned out there were only two, Grandma Adelia and Cousin Antonio. Grandma grabbed my attention the most. She was neither shaky nor stooped over. She looked much younger, happier and stronger. Her peaceful and bright eyes sparkled with the same kindness as when I had known her before. The surprise at seeing her right there beside me filled me with enchantment and happiness. How comforting! Do you remember when Grandma got really sick and had to leave home for the hospital? We never saw her again after that. Mum told us that the saintly old lady had died and didn't let us go with her to the funeral in order to pay her last visit. We both often express how much we missed Grandma. She had always shown us so much caring. She used to shower us with love and kindness. She forgave us all our wrongs. Can you imagine the joy I felt upon seeing her approaching? Next to her, I immediately recognized Antonio, our cousin. He had also died in a far-off hospital. He was gazing at me with his affectionate and kind eyes, which really soothed my heart. A true torrent of questions crisscrossed my mind in those next few moments. While there on earth, I had often heard that after the death of the body, we would be led off to either heaven or hell. But what I now saw was the continuation of the same old, dear and comforting scenery. Grandma, Aunt Eunice and Antonio were right there in front of me, more alive than ever, and the fact completely undid our mistaken belief that they had disappeared forever in death. Our dear old Grandma and cousins smiled and gave me a big hug. Grandma cried with joy, kissed me and held me on her lap as she used to do. She asked me how everybody was. She was sorry that she hadn't been able to come and get me and that Aunt Eunice had replaced her. She stated that she would visit Mum at the first opportunity. She kindly asked if you and I were still the same little imps who used to hide her eyeglasses in order to get toys and goodies. Supported by Grandma's good and loving arms, I really missed Mum and cried a lot. Our dear old Grandma, however, consoled me and explained that someday Mum and all of you would come to our new home too. How beautiful is this? This is a beautiful chapter. That he is being consoled by his grandmother and his whole family that is in the spiritual world. And this lesson tonight is not a big lesson, or it is not a long lesson, but the lesson here is, and what we can observe is that we are never alone and that we are always assisted, no matter what. So if we look at this, especially at a child's point of view, that everything where he is and supposedly is still in hospital, where he's going to be assisted and helped to help his thoughts and him to actually accept where he is, because this is still a whole new thing for him. And he is being assisted by his grandmother and his aunt and his cousin. And this is beautiful. So today, whenever we feel alone, just remember, and his grandmother told him that he was going to visit she was going to visit his mother, which means that she's going to be able to go and console his mother, who's in need of that. And we should never forget this, that we are never alone. And the work that is being put in by the spiritual world, we will never even conceive. But to remember that we are being looked after and that we are being consoled in sometimes the most difficult of situations. And this is the utmost love. So when we talk to our children, please let them know that death is not the end. And this is what Carlos is saying. Death is not the end of the body or the spirit, because we are eternal souls. And how amazing is that? And another observation that was very amazing to me as well, that he said, is that his grandmother was not in that state that he remembered her walking forward and all that. She was much younger version of herself. So it means that we are being vitalized as well when we are in the spiritual world, which is quite amazing. If you want to read more about children and the early passing of children in the spiritual realm, you can, I think it's page 178 in the Spirit's book. It talks about children and what happens to the souls of children and all that. So please feel free to go and read it. Thank you so much for joining, and everybody who's going to watch this. And let's educate our children about death so that they won't be like Carlos in this fear of death, but let us practice and visualize ourselves embracing this with love and trust in God. The next one will be the doctor. So we will see each other next week. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Kodak Radio, for the opportunity that we have to share and learn together. Thank you. Bye-bye.